Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. This is going to be number 2 of the What You Watching series. This is just videos where I talk about some movies that I've been watching and stuff that either I watched before, decided to watch again, or mostly just stuff I take off the unwatched pile and I'm watching it for the first time. I don't really have a ton of movies to talk about here. I only got about 4. The reason why is because, well, for a couple of reasons, obviously, like work and life and all that good fun stuff. But also, too, for $4, I picked up a copy of the book Clown in a Cornfield, and I saw the preview for the movie that's coming. So I wanted to go ahead and get the book and read the book real quick first before I get a chance to see the movie, just, so I can see how the book and the movie compare to each other. So I've been working on reading this bad boy for a little bit. But also, too, a couple of days ago, I watched Pale Rider and Outlaw Josie Wales again because, I needed to watch them to do my video for the 4K review that I did on those. And it didn't really leave me a lot of time for newer movies. Plus, got to work, got to earn a living. So anyway, go ahead and we'll get talking about the 4 movies that I had a chance to watch. The first one up, this was something, I'm sure of it, but we have Alexis Texas in Bloodlust Zombies. You see her there with the axe. This was like a 76-minute movie, I think. She doesn't really like kick into high gear until the end of the movie, but most of the film, whenever she's on screen, the movie definitely tries to be very meta and play on her, her career as an adult movie star. And there's definitely some scenarios and stuff. There's a male character in the movie, like, he's constantly like, he's looking at all the women in the office and he's like, visualizing these sexual scenarios in his head about them and stuff. And usually it ends with the women smack him in the face, telling him to snap out of it. The problem is this movie, oh boy, this movie is super duper ultra low budget. Not very convincing effects at all. It's trying to be like a horror comedy. The humor definitely falls pretty flat. Yes, Alexis Texas is mostly in there to give the audience some eye candy. The male audience, well, probably some of the female audience too, I imagine. But she's mostly just in there just to, get the pulses going. But anyway, though, it's got a little something to it. But as far as like zombie horror comedies go, this one is very, very much at the bottom of the pile. This is, bottom of the barrel. I don't know if I would actually ever watch this again. I guess if I just wanted to see some Alexis Texas nudity, but you can go online for that. But I would have, if I was going to do like a 5-star system, this would definitely be more like a 1.5 out of 5, I would say. Not particularly good, just poorly acted, poorly executed. The special effects are terrible. A lot of the jokes don't really land, Is in a way, it's like, I love a good zombie horror comedy. And in a way, I can appreciate what it was they were trying to do here, but yeah, just this movie here is, like I said, I think the whole idea of, Alexis Texas really is probably the only thing this movie's really got going for it. But, like out of 5 stars, I would say probably a 1.5 out of 5. So there's that one. Next movie up, I've had this movie for years and years. It sat on my shelf. Oh, I tell you, this is a movie gallery exclusive Blu-ray. I've had this on my shelf for years and years, never got around to it. I finally did. Written and directed by Eric Red, starring Famke Janssen and Bobby Cannavale. We have 100 Feet. I think part of the reason why I kind of waited on this movie is because I remember my ex talking about it, and she said she didn't like it. She thought it was a really bad movie. Famke Janssen, great actress. Of course, I know she was in one of the Bond films. She was a Bond girl. She's in one of the Bond films. I don't remember which one, but Mostly I know her from the stuff like, well, I know she's like in the X-Men movies, but mostly I know her from Clive Barker's film, Lord of Illusions. That's the main film I know her from, and she was great in that movie. She's great in this movie too. But yeah, Bobby Cannavale, he's an actor, like, the more I see of him, the more I like him in movies. The first movie I ever saw him in was, or at least the first movie I saw him in that I remembered him from was Paul Blart Mall Cop. But ever since then, I've seen him in more television and movies. And honestly, I like him as an actor. The more I see of him, the more I like him. I liked him in this. His character starts off as kind of a jerk, but as the movie goes along, he becomes, he does change and he becomes more and more of a good guy. Famke Janssen, she's amazing in this movie. Her acting is top notch. She's, Famke Janssen is the whole package, man. She's got it all. She's got beauty. She's got talent. You name it, she's got it. She's very watchable on screen, not just because of her looks, but because, she definitely has chemistry. She definitely has a presence to her as an actress, and I really do like her. Some of the CGI effects in this movie were pretty dodgy, to be truthfully honest with you. But I like the story. Eric Red wrote and directed this movie. If you don't know, he's the writer of the classic The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, and did movies like Body Part, and he's done plenty of other films. What was it, Bad Moon? Yeah, I mean, I like Eric Red as a writer-director. I thought the story was good. I think I could kind of see, though, why she didn't like this movie, because the story centers around a woman who, she gets out of prison because she murdered her husband. Turns out she murdered him in self-defense, and her husband was a cop. And so the cops didn't take kindly to her killing one of their own. So her character kind of got railroaded, and she got put into prison when she shouldn't have. She comes back to their house, and she's put on house arrest. That's where the title 100 Feet comes from, because she has to wear, an ankle bracelet, an ankle monitor bracelet. And she can't leave the house, she can only go certain areas. And come to find out that the spirit of her dead husband isn't at rest, and you see her getting viciously abused. And so I could understand probably why she didn't like it, but I love a story where you see a woman that is being mistreated through no fault of her own. And I'm not saying I like seeing that, but I like seeing her fight up, a woman who's being abused fight up and rise up and fight against her attacker, is what I meant to say. I'm not saying, please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I like watching women be abused. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I promise you. That's the thing. I don't think I'd be such a horror movie fan if I was, because, isn't probably the majority of horror films, usually isn't that the plot of a female character who fights up against the evil, oppressor, I guess you could say. But anyway, so yeah. But really good story, some good tense moments in it, and I would just say, yeah, I'm just not really a fan of I'm not a fan of the CGI in here, but yeah, great acting, good storyline, and like I said, it's great to see a woman who, stands up and fights against her abuser. So yeah, so I would say probably out of 5, I'd give this, probably like a 4 out of 5. I probably just knock off a point because of the bad CGI, but in terms of story, character, and everything else, yeah, this movie works. So there you go. This movie I put on to watch just mostly because I've had this for a little while. I haven't got around to watching it yet, and since Scream Factory announced that in July they're going to put out a 4K, I decided to go ahead and give this a watch and see if this is a movie that do I really, really want to upgrade this to 4K, or am I satisfied just having on Blu-ray? Enough suspense. We're talking about Abigail. I bought this, it was last Black Friday on a Black Friday sale. Got the Blu-ray DVD digital combo pack for $10. But like I said, so now found out that Scream Factory is putting out a 4K. So I was, I asked myself, I better go ahead and watch this and see, is this movie good enough that I really want to upgrade this, But so anyway, so I watched the movie and I did thoroughly enjoy it for the most part. This movie definitely has some nods to other horror films. Like I think of the Catherine Newton's character, when she gets knocked into the pool that's full of dead, decomposing zombies, and there's dead, decomposing bodies, and there's flies everywhere, and that definitely made me think of the movie Phenomena, which also goes by Creepers. It reminds me of that scene from that movie where Jennifer Connelly's character gets knocked into the pit with all the dead, decomposing bodies, and there's flies and maggots everywhere. So the scene in here with the swimming pool definitely reminded me of that. The one scene where everybody, the group of characters gather around, they all start talking about, okay, now we're dealing with a vampire. What do we know about vampires? And I mean, that is clearly taken from the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. Definitely some nods to other horror films. Overall, though, I did enjoy the film. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would buy this on 4K day one. I think this is something like the Blu-ray looks phenomenal, and I don't really think that the 4K transfer is going to look that much better. So I could probably see myself just sitting on the Blu-ray for a while, and maybe wait after the 4K comes out if I can maybe, find it on a sale or get it for a cheaper price or something like that. Then maybe upgrade it, but yeah, for right now, I think I'm fine with just having this movie on Blu-ray. I could live with it. It looked phenomenal. The picture quality was great. Fun story. Some of the characters I like, some of the characters not so much, but yeah. And overall, I really enjoy it. I like the character of Abigail. I thought it was a fun little take that this little girl is basically the daughter of a she, even though she's a vampire, turns out her father is a vampire too. And the idea is she's going around, she's killing a lot of her, but her dad is kind of like a big crime boss, and she's going around, she's killing a lot of the enemies of her father to try to gain his love and approval. I thought that was an interesting idea, but yeah, so I thought that was kind of an interesting idea too. That that the vampires can, in this one, Abigail, like if she turns somebody into she turns somebody into a vampire, that she can, she can like control them mentally and stuff. I thought that was an interesting idea. But yeah, so I'm glad I watched this. Finally got it off the shelf and watched it. And like I said, yeah, what started off is just like watching this to see if I want to get the Blu-ray or the 4K. Like I said, yeah, I'll probably pick it up down the line, but I don't really see this being a day one pickup. I would probably wait, because like I said before, I really don't think that the 4K is going to be much of a difference, from the Blu-ray. So I think I'll wait and pick that up, when it comes on sale. Last but not least, I picked this one up. This was a blind buy. I picked this up. If you saw my video on Pale Rider and Josie Wales, I picked this one up. I was curious about it. From TerrorVision, we have American Nightmare. One night, 7 friends confess their fears to a killer. You got Debbie Rochon there, and it was okay. I mean, definitely a slasher movie. Definitely, there are scenes in the movie where the character is watching Halloween. One part I thought was funny is when this one here, the main female character, the phone rings, she gets up to answer the phone, and you could clearly see in the background that the little girl's sitting on the couch. You see the TV, and there's nothing on the screen. The TV is turned off, right? And so the girl is like, who is it? Who's on the phone? No, never mind. Go back to watching your movie. It's like, what movie? There's no movie on the TV. Debbie Rochon, I thought, did a really good job. This movie is very convoluted, though. There's not... they do give something of an explanation as to why she's going around killing these people, but I don't know. There's just some stuff, and there's just some parts in this movie don't make a whole lot of sense. But anyway, so yeah, this group of 7 friends, they're sitting in a kind of like a coffee shop, kind of bohemian coffee shop, I guess, kind of thing. And they're it's Halloween night, and they call into a radio station, and each one of them confesses their worst fears. Well, while they're doing that, Debbie Rochon's character is sitting there, and she's listening to them talk about what their worst fears is. And she decides she's going to kill these 7 kids, and she's going to kill them in a manner that relates to their worst fear, what they just confessed to the radio, to the radio DJ. So it's got a good idea behind it. A particularly bloodless slasher movie. I mean, there's very little blood and gore. So yeah, if you're going into this thinking you're going to get a lot of like Friday the 13th kind of special effects, gore effects and all that stuff, you're going to definitely be very disappointed. Yeah, just it's got some interesting moments to it, but it's definitely, this movie is definitely not going to win you over. It's not going to, you're not going to sit here and watch this and be like, oh man, it's like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all this, and man, that stuff is crap compared to this. It's a decent watch. I can see myself watching it again. It's got some good ideas behind it. But just like I said, the ending felt very, I was just kind of scratching my head like, what? Some of this stuff doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. But aside from that, I forgot. I think I'll give Abigail probably like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I forgot about that. This one here, out of 5, I'll give this one about a 3.5. Like I said, it's got some good ideas behind it, but just, some kind of really sketchy spots in this movie that kind of don't really make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, so that's pretty much the 4 movies I watched. And, I could say, if you can find this on streaming somewhere, if you found it on something like Tubi or Prime or something like that, you can watch it for free. I would say give it a look-see, but just don't expect a movie that's gonna, make Scream look like a piece of trash, because this isn't gonna do it. But so American Nightmare, Abigail, 100 Feet, and Bloodlust Zombies. Those are the 4 movies I've been watching. Aside from, like I said, I watched Outlaw Josie Wales, which that's a 5 out of 5 movie. Pale Rider, I give probably like a 4.5 out of 5. But I had to watch those the other day to get ready to do the video for the 4K review. But so that's it. I really enjoy doing these. I got to be honest, I'm probably going to be doing a lot more of these. And I hope you guys have fun watching them. And I'm hoping that you guys will come back and continue to watch. And so that's it. So going to get back to reading Clown in a Cornfield so I can have this read. So by the time I watch the movie, I know whether the movie is better or worse than the book. Pretty sure the book's probably going to be better. But anyway, so that's going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, could you please leave it a like? And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And that's it. So everybody, take care. Have a good night. See you all later.